Hi everyone, my name is Tish Prescott and I'm a PhD student at the University of Tasmania, and my PhD project is in collaboration with the Cawthron Institute and Blue Economy CRC. So my project is working quite closely with the New Zealand Chinook salmon aquaculture industry, and this is to be able to look at the long-term effects of sustained swimming on Chinook salmon form and function. The main reasons for this project is because the industry has recently proposed to expand farming offshore into high energy environments where higher swimming speeds will be encountered. The industry is also moving towards the use of RAS with circular tanks during their hatchery phase, where optimizing the flow to encourage cohorts to swim during this phase could enhance production performance, but also start preparing these stocks for offshore farming environments. A large aspect of my PhD is also investigating how individuals with spinal deformity, in particular spinal curvature, will be impacted by long-term sustained swimming, and whether this could be used to mitigate spinal curvature and improve their swimming characteristics. The real aim of my PhD is to understand how long-term sustained swimming will influence Chinook salmon form and function, and this is really broken down into 5 major themes. Being looking at how sustained swimming will influence production performance, especially to see if exercise can enhance some of these traits as shown in Atlantic salmon and rainbow trout. And also by understanding this, we can start to gain some insights into how these fish may respond when farmed offshore. Also interested in looking at if there is a genetic bioenvironmental interaction with sustained swimming, as current stocks have been selected to perform in these nearshore sites under low swimming speeds, and so it's unknown if these traits will still perform when farmed under high energy environments where the fish are having to swim at much faster speeds. We're also looking at how sustained swimming influences the nutritional composition and bone mineral content. And so this is really important to understand how nutrient demands may change when farmed offshore and whether diets need to be optimized to ensure nutrient demands are met. We're also interested to see if swimming may increase the bone mineral content, which could lead to improvements in their spinal health. We're also interested in looking at how sustained swimming influences the swimming performance and aerobic capacity of Chinook salmon. First, to be able to define what their swimming characteristics are, and then to see if exercise could be used prior to sea transfer to start preparing them for offshore farming. And lastly, we're looking at how the morphological characteristics of the white muscle, skin and gill may alter under long-term sustained swimming, and how this may be underpinning some of the changes we see in these other research themes. Today's talk, I'll just be focusing on some results from these 3 research themes: nutritional composition and bone mineral content, fitness and aerobic capacity, as well as morphology. So to do this, we trained Chinook salmon under low and moderate flow regimes for 10 months. And this is shown by the low flow regime in the light blue and the moderate flow regime in the dark blue. And you can see that in this figure on the left that in absolute velocity, the swimming speeds increased on a monthly basis. And we did this to maintain those swimming speeds towards our targeted 0.3 and 0.8 body lengths per second. And so we allowed the fish to remain under these training regimes for 10 months before we selected a subset of fish to be able to look at their swimming characteristics and aerobic capacity. So from those candidates, we chose individuals from both flow regimes, but also with spinal scoliosis. And the individuals that presented with spinal scoliosis were chosen if they had a mild severity case, which meant the spine only deviated by less than 20 degrees. And so from these fish, we performed a critical swimming test to be able to look at their swimming performance, aerobic capacity, and after that sampled them for composition and morphology. And so just to present some of the main findings, After 10 months under moderate flow regimes, we found that the swimming performance and aerobic capacity was improved in Chinook salmon, and this was shown by a significant increase in their critical swimming speed, maximum metabolic rate, and aerobic scope. And so what does this mean for the industry? Well, improving their swimming performance allows them to be able to swim against these higher current speeds, and by having an increased aerobic scope, this could allow them to supply oxygen to maintain these swimming speeds, but also to be able to feed, digest, and grow. We also found that individuals with spinal scoliosis of a mild severity level, irrespective of what flow regime they were raised under, showed poor recovery. And this was found by individuals with mild spinal scoliosis to require more time and oxygen to recover from reaching exhaustion, which was depicted by reaching their critical swimming speed. So this leads us to think that these individuals will have poorer swimming performance and poorer feed conversion in the offshore environments. We also found that moderate flow regimes influences the muscle morphology and chemical composition, and this was shown by an increased muscle fiber density and changes in the muscle fiber distribution. We also found that the lipid content within the viscera and whole body was reduced in fish that were raised under the moderate flow regimes. However, this was not reflected in the fillet, which is beneficial for a product quality point of view. However, we didn't find any differences between the bone mineral content between the flow regimes, which leads us to believe that these level of exercise may not lend any improvements to spinal health. Overall, this information does suggest that product quality could change in an offshore environment where more investigation needs to happen to be able to ensure the aesthetic value and nutritional value of these products are maintained when farmed offshore. So some future work that we are considering doing is looking at if training improvements are still present when farmed offshore, and then also looking at if this improves their ability to withstand oscillating current speeds or changes in directions, which might mimic bad weather events. We're also wanting to look at if product performance is improved and also maintained in these offshore locations. We're looking at determining if existing diets need to be modified for offshore farming, so whether nutrient and energy requirements or nutrient retention may change and impact the product quality, and also matching nutritional profiles such as feed composition to meet the nutrient demands when farmed offshore. We're also interested in investigating if swim training prior to sea transfer can improve performance in various aspects. So this may be looking further into the bone mineral composition and spinal health, but also whether swimming may be a signal for past molt transformation, whether improved fitness and aerobic scope could lead to these cohorts being more temperature and hypoxic resilient, and also to improve the overall fish welfare. So before I wrap up, I just would like to thank my supervisors, Chris Carter, Jason Simmons, Matt Miller, James Simmons, and Seamus Walker, as well as everyone at the Cawthron Institute and collaborators. And a major thanks to the funding bodies, the Blue Economy CRC, as well as the New Zealand Government Ministry for Business, Innovation and Employment for funding this project. And thank you all for listening. I have put in a little plug for my paper if you want to know more about this study. That's just at the bottom left there. Thank you very much.